Mitsuru is a very interesting character in P4 Arena Ultimax. Her character design is unique in that her overall game plan is about as honest as a character gets in this game. Don't get me wrong, she's not weak, but her effectiveness scales pretty linearly with how well you understand the game. And by that I mean, she'll go as far as your skill goes. But as a baseline, she's a very good character for understanding the fundamentals and developing a balanced approach to Ultimax. I definitely recommend her as a good starting character. She is a charge character though, meaning you execute a lot of her special attacks by holding one direction for at least half a second and then pressing the opposite direction with an attack button to execute the move. This may be daunting for players used to motion inputs like quarter circle forward, and I believe she's the only character in the game that's based around charge specials, but trust me, it's not as hard to learn as it may seem, and some people even find it more intuitive than motion inputs. So don't let that discourage you from playing her. Once you make the commitment, it's pretty easy from there. Mitsuru really shines in neutral, where she has amazing attacks. Quick A jab attacks that have a bunch of range, then range persona attacks that are also pretty fast and can catch your opponent slipping from long distance. You get to pressure opponents while being outside of most of their effective ranges. Compounding on this, you can bait the opponent into mistakes very easily and capitalize off those same ranged attacks, leading into devastating counter hit combos. Mitsuru's pressure game isn't hyper-focused on one route into different mix-up options like knocking the opponent down and simply going left, right, high, low, but more based on a shifting variability in pressure reset situations. She has the safe jump stuff that most characters have, yeah, but that's just one option. You can get standing resets from her combos, throw pressure in the corner that converts into high damage full combos, instant overheads. It's just a lot for the defender to deal with and they can quickly become overwhelmed. So for the drawbacks, remember again, she scales with your skill level. So the worse you are at certain aspects of the game, the worse you may perform with her. She's not able to cover for fundamental flaws in your game the way that some other characters can. Her moves are quick and long reaching, but up close and personal, they're just a tad bit slower than other characters. So mashing out pressure, for example, isn't really a strong option, meaning you gotta learn how to play solid defense. Also, if you tend to whiff moves often, you're absolutely gonna get blown up. Some of Mitsuru's animations can leave her vulnerable for a good amount of time. Lots of people say shadow characters are better, and I typically co-sign with this, with the caveat that learning the normal version should serve as a stepping stone to the better version of the character, but the best Mitsuru mains make great points on how the strengths and weaknesses of either version distinguish themselves from one another just enough for either to be a good choice in the long run. Although the shadow version is pretty good, and it's at least worth a look once you get the basics down. Sam the God has an excellent text guide of both versions that supplements the beginner advice in this tutorial, and T-Log Maru, who provided the high-level gameplay footage you see in front of you, has a crazy good master guide for the character. The match footage speaks for itself regarding their skill level, but if you need more evidence, T-Log recently got second place at Evo 22's Vortex Gallery tournament. Once you get the basics down, these guides will level you up to the elite class of players. So for the basic attacks, I'll do a brief overview of the most notable commands, and as always, check out dustloop.com for more in-depth breakdown. Mitsuru's standing A is the linchpin of her offense. Use this to keep the opponent checked and get into your block pressure or fish for hit confirms. Better players will abuse the fact that it can be low profiled, but Mitsuru has a built-in counter to that which we'll touch on in just a second. Her auto combo is pretty good both on hit and on block. You'll be using it a lot. Now standing B is that built-in counter. This move puts you airborne, meaning low attacks like sweeps and also throws cannot touch you. So if they try to beat out your ranged 5A poke, they can get counter hit. They try to take a grab that they think you're playing for, blown up as well. This move can be held to delay the hit, and you can also move forward or backward while airborne. And that added variability is always a plus to cover different situations, as well as being able to adjust positioning to enable certain combos. What's more, you can cancel out of the landing animation before the strike, and you can do it into a grab, so it's a pretty crazy strike throw mix-up. Your crouching B is your anti-air that you absolutely do not want to whiff, and also a high damage combo enabler. This move can also be held. Jumping A is your air-to-air attack to keep the opponent grounded, where you can abuse them further with your standing A and B attacks. Jumping B is your go-to jump-in attack that can be held to charge the attack for better properties. Both attacks have great range, and instant jump B on crouching opponents can convert into combo with meter for one more cancels, but that's not something to be too concerned with right now. Sweep is very good, and guess what, you can hold it just like the B attacks, which will have Mitsuru faint, and you can run your strike throw mix as well as bait burst in combos. You'll mainly be using your basic attacks for neutral at that close to mid-range so you can threaten your throws and get the game plan running, but the persona attacks have their own unique uses. Standing C gives you a flurry attack with okay range and can be held down for more hits. You can get 6 hits on standing opponents, 9 comboed on crouching, and a full 15 on a counter hit. This move is interesting because it can be cancelled like a typical non-persona attack into something like a dash cancel. Crouching C also can be charged. It sends out a flower that inflicts charm when it touches the opponent, stealing SP for you. This will mostly be used in setups after combos. The D persona attacks are long range whips that can pull the opponent towards you as a combo starter. Crouching D can be used as a predictive anti-air to further shut down the opponent's air approach. Throw is very important to your game plan. Put the fear of your basic attacks into your opponent, causing them to hold back instead of trying to challenge your attacks or jumping away, and then throw them for free. Get them to the corner and you can make the throw really scary by comboing off of it. So like I mentioned, Mitsuru is a charge character. For her skill attacks, you have to hold either backwards or down and then hit the opposite direction the same time as an attack button to use the skill. Now think about the normal moves that we just covered. You see how a lot of them can be held and just generally have a lot of startup frames? Instinct might tell you that the slower moves are a bad thing, and normally that's true. But those long-winded animations actually enable you to build charge during the animation while still attacking instead of sitting vulnerably crouched down in the corner like charge characters in other fighting games. So, the coup droit is your most important move. I'm not going to be able to say that name correctly all video, so we'll just call it the lunging attack. Understanding the usage of the different versions of this attack is critical to building a strong foundation with this character. The A version goes a set distance and ending combos with it puts the opponent in a restand situation where you can further oppress them with your strong normals. The B version's animation is twice as long, but that shouldn't dissuade its use since it's still relatively quick and neutral. It knocks down on hit and you'll want to combo into this when you can for knockdown pressure with the safe jump and other options. It also has a few more variables to it. You can stare the attack by holding forward or backward after executing the command. Doing so will allow you to space the attack out so that it hits on the last few frames of the animation, letting you recover from the move faster than the opponent recovers from the block stun, giving you the advantage to continue pressure. It can also be charged up to increase damage, but you lose out on the frame advantage that you would have had with the uncharged version if it's blocked. SB version has some great utility due to its quick startup, counter hit combo potential, distance covered, and surprise factor. Down charge gives you access to Bufula, which you'll use in combos but can also be used in neutral to control the opponent's approach depending on the matchup, either forcing them to the air or keeping them grounded with the C and D versions. Tentarafu is mainly for combos and mainly for advanced combos that are really hard to do, so you probably won't be pulling this out too often. The supers use the standard motion inputs, so they're available without having to charge a direction as long as you have the meter to use them. Myriad arrows can be used as a reversal due to its invincibility frames. You can hold down the kick at the end, and certain combos get the full hold, which does a whole lot more damage. Bufudan can also be used as a reversal super and combo ender. And Mabufudan is the awakened super. Access to this enables some really devastating combo enders. Once you activate the super, you lose access to persona attacks. Instead, pressing C sends 2 shards of ice to the opponent, and D will send all the ice shards at once. You're free to move around while it's active, so the high damage combo routes involve using Myriad Arrow Super, which doesn't need the persona, and then comboing into the big kick at the end. Now for the fun part, the combos. You'll typically be confirming into combo routes off the first 2 hits of your auto combo. With Mitsuru, things can get a bit tricky since you have to confirm whether the opponent was hit while crouching in order to route into your better mid-screen combos. So off the bat, the first 4 hits of the auto combo are unironically really good. So this first route is easy, but at least do it this way. Only use the first 3 auto combo taps and charge up the coup droit A, just so you can figure out how to charge specials while comboing. It's pretty intuitive. And then once you have like the system down, feel free to just mash that A button and just do the auto combo for the lunge strike. It's fine. Now for the first real combo, we'll get you started out on the right foot since it works on everyone regardless of standing or crouching. For this combo, you want to remember to hold forward on the B attack so you can close some distance. The finicky part here is that you want to immediately charge up your lunging thrust special after the B attack so that you can complete the charge time requirement for it to come out in time to combo. What's helpful is that 5C can be held for some extra hits, the max amount depending on how far you are from the opponent. More hits if you're closer, and this gives you some extra time to charge up the lunge, so it's not too strict of a timing. Okay, time to level up a little bit already. On crouching opponents, you can instead cancel the B attack into sweep and then the B lunge to get a safe jump. It's important as you practice this character to start recognizing when to confirm into these crouching combo routes. That's what truly unlocks the damage cap on your combos, and these guaranteed safe jump situations make you much scarier in pressure. Work on confirming this one first, and then later on you can get into other confirms on crouching opponents that go into some better routes. Now here we start to see how the harder combos require you to sneak in charges during other moves. Sweep is down in A plus B, but you can also use diagonal down back to sweep while still getting the back charge. Meaning you can go from holding diagonal down back directly into forward and still get the lunge to come out. You'll be using this method to make most of the combos work. So let's start with the corner combo off of the standing A attack. This introduces the all-out attack ending, which a lot of Mitsuru combos use to go into some wild setups. Same as before, you sneak in charge while executing moves like sweep and crouching attacks. The back-to-back buffaloes are hard to do, but it really just comes down to practice. You gotta charge the second one as soon as you hit up and C for the first one to come out. Then you need to release the D buffalo as soon as you recover from the first animation to combo. The B attack hold at the end into all out attack is thankfully really easy, so you probably only struggle with the ice part. You have access to a similar route in the corner off of throws, but it's shortened to compensate for the higher stun scaling penalty off of throw starters. So after the throw, the timing of the standing A is a little weird, but you'll get used to it after a few attempts. So by now you should be starting to realize what moves allow you enough time to get the charge specials out, and you start to see that we use the same pairings of moves in most of the combos. So these next two combos are going to be real powerhouses in your arsenal starting out. Mainly due to the skill level of weaker opponents, because they're always going to jump at you at bad angles, and all you need to do is to press down and B. So on anti-airs you can get this combo off into your all-out attack ender, and you'll be good to go. Show this to the opponent once or twice and I guarantee that they're not going to be jumping at you like it's free anymore. And at further ranges you can catch them slipping, hit them with the standing or crouching D poke, and that can go into the same combo. Now, to punish DPs and other fatal recovery attacks, you're going to use the standing B. If you don't have enough time or can't react quickly enough for the full hold of the move, you can get this combo. But with a full hold, you get the real sweet stuff. I harp on this in every tutorial. Remember, you want to show a real punishment for DPs to dissuade your opponent from trying to do it to interrupt your pressure. Now you can end most of the combos that I showed you with a super, but you only want to do that to kill the opponent since a regular ender gives you way better follow-up. Instead, try to use your 50 meter to turn basic combo confirms into higher damage starters into the all-out attack ender that gives you the best setups. Here's something you can try to get you on the right track. Off the forward B attack, you can use the forward momentum, one more cancel to end on that mid-screen route that I showed you earlier. And that's a general run through of combos starting out. Once you're ready for the hot stuff, you can check out the two guides I linked as well as Dust Loop. The next level of combos you want to look into is how to dump all your meter to secure kills, mainly using the Awakening Mabufudan super. Now I can't go anywhere near as in-depth as the Master T-Lock can, so check out the full breakdown for Mitsuru Neutral. But what I can do is give you general tips to succeed through the growing pain starting out. So the strength of the character comes down to neutral play, straight up. You're coming into most matchups with a ton of advantage in this area if you play correctly. And no, you do not have to be a master neutral tactician and understand every aspect of each character. You just need to build general understanding of what each character is trying to do and how well the opponent can actually do what they're trying to do. because the #1 goal with Mitsuru's toolkit is to force and exploit mistakes. The more mistakes you force, the more frustrated the opponent gets, the easier to put them in a body bag. The first step is locking them down with standing A to assert your territory. Let them know that they're not allowed to play in your range. Everything streams downward from this origin point. The auto combo can be delayed a bit on block to bait mashing and frame trap them, with it being easy to confirm off due to the long cancel windows. Following on that basic frame trap premise, you can mix in sweep, which has a long enough startup that it becomes its own frame trap half the time. And of course you can hold it to feint and either reset pressure or grab them. Eventually when they start trying to get cute with low profile moves to beat out the jab, you can standing B them for counter hits. This is where the character becomes a real threat. Forcing the opponent into this first layer of oppression adds to their mental stack. Now they're using a few more milliseconds of thinking power and second guessing all of their button presses. You can throw additional mental load on them through the use of your crouch B and crouch D anti-airs depending on the range they try to play the air game from. Jumping A as well to quickly stuff them out of scrambly jumps. Standing D is a long range poke and meaty on wake up. Jumping D in some instances like against zoners. Standing C dash cancels, which is super fake pressure, but fake pressure is real pressure on a frustrated opponent, never forget that. And of course, the pressure from the B version of the lunge strike. Now that they're resigned to ground approaches, you can totally lock down most characters through good use of the distance control on this move. You're already golden just by catching them blocking because you get to re-engage your close range strike throw pressure, but over time you'll start to catch onto situations where you can convert into full combos off of straight hits and counter hits. Remember, you always want to hit with the tip to be as plus as possible. And then once you've got the knockdown, you keep your foot on the gas. Mitsuru can route her knockdown pressure into a few different options. A lot of this starts from showing them the safe jump air B attack and see if they still try to press buttons on wake up. Once they respect the safe jump, you can entertain other wake up options like crouching A, or reset pressure from a bit of a distance with a standing A, or standing C to bait out buttons. Off the all out attack ender, you can go for charm setups, usually early to mid game to build meter faster and kill on the next touch or two. An instant air dash backwards lets you pop Marin Karen and bully them with a meaty standing A jab on wake up. You also have the option to hold down charge for a meaty ice mirror on their wake up, which puts them in block stun, letting you get pressure without as much fear of reversals. Again, basic stuff. On defense, you have a pretty good DP, but it's not something you want to rely on or you end up dying off of fatal counters. Like I said, this is the weakness of her insane neutral tools, bad startup to mash out of pressure with. There are more advanced techniques to get out of pressure like instant blocking and stuff, but to keep it simple, you'll just have to learn how to block whatever they throw at you. Know what the best defense Mitsuru has though? Killing them. Master the neutral and you won't have to deal with blocking because you'll be winning the game. And of course, make smart use of burst and meter reversals to give a little buffer that the opponent has to keep in mind, and respect to give you those gaps where you're able to weasel your way out of pressure in instances when you've lost neutral. Damn it. And these tips should get you off to a pretty strong start. Good luck on learning the character, and if you have any questions, leave a comment here or hop on over to the Persona Fight Club Discord and join the Mitsuru channel to get help from some really amazing Mitsuru players. You can follow me on Twitch over here, and feel free to support the Patreon if you enjoy the content. Peace.